In this video, I'm going to share with you a sure way to eliminate fear when you're stressing or fearing about things. Because I'm sure that it happens to you sometimes, or maybe even often, to start fearing something, to start have negative thoughts about the future in a specific situation. So something triggered you, or something happened, or someone tells you something, and you start having negative, fearful thoughts. And so what do we normally do in this kind of situation? What do most people do when they start having fear about something? They try to either suppress it, they try to either eliminate the problem, or they try to tell themselves that it is totally irrational. Because sometimes, and we have to understand this, sometimes we start fearing something totally irrationally, and that is very simply because our mind actually fears something, but we have been suppressing that fear so much that it now tries to express it in a safe way. So if you have found yourself sometimes fearing about something that you thought yourself, this is totally stupid, it's not worth fearing about, but you still feared it, and even if you try to tell yourself that it was irrational, you still feared it, it was because you were trying to suppress a real fear of yours. And so your mind found something safe because it knew that it wouldn't happen, so that it could express its fear in a safe way. Now, what about eliminating the problem of fear? When we do that, we're going to eliminate the feeling of fear, the fearful thoughts, but not really. Have you ever, if this has ever happened to you, where you were fearing something and then you eliminated the problem, the thing that you thought you were fearing about, you will know that you still fear falling back. So you haven't really eliminated the problem. For example, if you injured yourself and you feared while you were recovering to re-injure yourself, if you have recovered but you haven't addressed the problem, the real fear, you still fear injuring yourself, even though you're fully recovered. If you feared having no money and then you actually learn to make money, you earned your money, now you make a lot of money, if you didn't address the real problem, you're probably still fearing losing the money. And the third thing we do is suppressing our fears, which is the reason why we actually never really solve the problem, and why most of the times we start fearing irrational things. Because as said, our mind just tries to find a safe way, a thing it already knows that won't happen, on which it can express the fears we have basically suppressed. And so, how do we actually eliminate the fears? And it's not about expressing them, it's about accepting the worst case scenario. When we're able to accept the worst thing that could ever happen, that underlying thing that we fear, we can chill, because that's when fear will just go away and we will feel at peace. At least that is what I've seen very often happening over and over and over again. And it's not that easy, because it's not always that easy to accept specific things, right? There are things that we do value a lot, maybe our life, and that's all right. It's hard to accept the fact, that accept dying, but I think that with work, like with some work, it can be done, and then no more fear those things that may, those situations where you may hurt yourself. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't fear anything, because sometimes fear is actually a good indicator of what we should or should do. But as said, very often we start fearing about bullshit things, very rational things. And as said, underlying that fear, there is a real fear, but our mind is expressing it on a thing that it knows that won't happen anyways. So it's worth, I think, digging to the real fear, asking ourselves, what is the real fear behind of that? And then just accepting the worst case scenario. I will make you some examples. let's say that, and this is actually a real thing. I hurt my knee. I injured my knee some months ago. I broke my meniscus, and so obviously I feared not being able to run again, right? But as soon as I realized that, yeah, okay, I will try my best to recover, and I will be smart, don't do stupid things. But if it has to happen, it will happen, and I accept it. As soon as I maybe didn't accept it fully, but as soon as I accepted a little bit more, I was kind of more at peace with myself. Another example, for a very long time, I feared a lot going up and talking with girls, mainly because I feared others, judging me if I would have got rejected. I realized that when I accepted being judged, I literally asked myself, what is the worst thing that could happen? I slid out, I fall on my face. At the same time, I somehow, my somehow take off my shirts and my underwear, and then something stupid happens. Maybe, I don't know, I throw down a girl. I don't know, something. I literally imagine what the worst thing that happens, and then everyone is laughing at me. And then I thought to myself, okay, if that happened, I mean, it would kind of be a good story to tell. It won't be that bad. And immediately, I felt relief from that fear. Immediately, that big fear was no more there. I had accepted it. So try it out. Maybe you have a fear you already know that you start thinking about several times, and try to accept the worst thing scenario. Literally ask yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen? And you will see that if you can accept that, the fear will just vanish. So really hope this video helped you out. If it did, and if you liked it, make sure to like and subscribe to not miss all my future videos. Anyways, I wish all the best, bro. And yeah, hope to see you in tomorrow's ice bath video.